Hello everybody, this is Fernando for Godzilla Movie News. It's still a little slow right now when it comes to the Godzilla movie. No doubt things are going to pick up, so I thought I would create yet another video for my Cryptids and Monsters series. Thank you everybody again for watching all my previous videos. I know that there have been recommendations about talking about certain creatures, like the Jersey Devil and the others. The thing is, I'm trying to pick, for starters, some of the most unknown cryptids and monsters that are out there. I'll get to the big ones like the Jersey Devil, the Bigfoot, Loch Ness, and so forth. But it's just that I'm finding more interesting the ones that are not well known, because some of them have really unique experiences from what people say about these monsters and supernatural beings that are out there. And the whole purpose of this series is to make sure that everybody is aware of these lesser known monsters and cryptids, so that way you get to hear and experience what something that you might not have had heard of before. So that's the reason for this. But again, I'll get back to other stuff, and I'll include other big names like Mothman, Men in Black, and so forth. So I'll make sure that I'll get those soon. In any case, for this video, I wanted to talk about the Scotland's version of Bigfoot, which they call the Big Grey Man of Ben Macdui, or the Grey Man, as they call him as well. And what this is, again, is think of Bigfoot or something resembling Bigfoot, but in Scotland. And in reading some of the people's accounts and history regarding this monster, what's interesting to note is some of the similarities that it has with Bigfoot, but at the same time, where most people recount Bigfoot, running away or trying to stay as hidden as possible from the people that are watching or seeing him or feel its presence. In this case, the Grey Man of Scotland, this monster here, actually chases people, and that's what makes it a little freaky. So, the way that the legend goes, and it's actually pretty current, some of the accounts here are coming up on the recent years, is that this picture that you see here is essentially the location of the Grey Man. You'll notice that one of the biggest distinctions is that it has a very foggy, very misty area around it, and think of Silent Hill, but on an actual mountain, and you'll get an idea of what this is. And this is actually a pretty popular place for people to climb, get some good exercise. A lot of travelers out there, a lot of explorers out there, they go in this area here in Scotland because it's a historic place, and it's also a good place to get some exercise. But again, apparently some people say that as they're climbing this summit, they see something that seems to be mimicking them or following them, in some cases chasing them. And as always, it's always a very tall figure. It either has a short amount of hair or looks to have some hair on it, or sometimes it's actually an unseen presence, something that causes that feeling that, okay, somebody is watching me but I can't really see it. That's exactly what this Grey Man is. It's described as a supernatural being. Some people have even described it as a guardian of the area, perhaps of, in some extreme case, of dimensional portals on there. Not really going to get into that, but again, the presence that people have is very eerie in and around this area. There was a climber, for example, whose name was John Norman Colley, and this was back in 1925. He described an experience that he had. He said he just was climbing up the summit. He was alone by himself. It looks like it was in the day. The summit, no doubt, still had its misty appearance, which Scotland is known for. And as he was climbing up, he suddenly heard that there was other footsteps besides his. He knew he was alone, but that there were other footsteps besides his that he was hearing. The thing is that he was hearing these steps every now and then after his. So he would take a couple of steps, and then he would hear this other thing do a step. He would take a couple more steps, and then this other thing would do a step. And he realized that if somebody was doing that, then they were taking either 3 or 4 times the length of his steps, which is a very large being, in other words. And because it was very misty, he couldn't really figure out the source noise itself, but he still kept hearing these eerie crunches, because as you see from the rocks here in that picture, taking any steps here will no doubtly create a very loud noise, and it's not going to be something that people can sneak up on. But he kept hearing this, and it kept coming up behind him, and he became so terrified after a while that he just blindly ran around the rocks and the boulders for about 4 or 5 miles. The thing, it seemed to be following him this whole time, and as he turned, he didn't really see anything, but others that have actually have the same experience as well, usually see a huge gray figure behind them, and all the while, all they can feel is just an extreme amount of terror as they're running away from this thing. In the 90s, the most recent example was in 1990s, early 90s. 3 men actually caught sight of this creature, and this was near the place of the summit. It was at a forest called Aberdeen, and they stated that they actually saw its face, which they could just describe as it being inhuman. And several weeks later, while they were driving in that same area at night, who knows why they would continue to be there, after experiencing something like that. You better believe that I would never be in and around that area ever again. But here they are again, driving around that area, this time at night, and that same creature appeared, and it started to run alongside their car. Even when they put their car up to 45 miles an hour, this thing kept running alongside it evenly, so it was matching their speed, and it kept trying to enter their vehicle. No doubt this terrified the hell out of them as they were trying to get out of there. But apparently this gray man was able to do so and keep up with them. There have been other infrared photographs, videos of this creature. Again, nothing really solid, nothing really concrete. You've seen some of the pictures here that show some of the various description of what the monster looks like, drawings and so forth. One theory, though, as to what the people are actually experiencing has to do with a concept known as the broken spectra. And this was interesting to me because I've never heard of this theory or this term before. But essentially what it is whenever you have a large amount of clouds or a large amount of mist in your area, and the sun hits this cloud or mist in a certain angle, it tends to create a shadow, or a humanoid looking shadow, based on your own figure. But what happens is, because of the angle of the sun, it's not like it's a shadow that's right next to you, it's a shadow that's cast far away. And so it actually makes it seem like there's somebody there with you, even though if you're alone, you know that you're alone. But again, the optical illusion that this broken spectra creates makes it seem like there's somebody else. And that's what a lot of people have theorized that this big gray man is. All he is essentially an optical illusion created by the mist around this area of the summit, and by the sun and the reflection coming off of the person that's there. You'll see some pictures of some examples here, and it kind of makes sense. If you have something that's barely seen, far away, it would definitely seem like somebody, as you're walking, that this shadow is following you in every single way, which makes it all the more creepy. But at the same time, it could just be yourself. And that's what most people think that the big gray man is. Because again, even after decades, if not centuries, of tales of this big gray man, nobody has seen anything, nobody has actually caught anything, nobody has recorded much of anything that's concrete. It just still remains an urban legend, and of course following under the category of cryptids and monsters. But yeah, that's essentially what this cryptid is, and it's a little bit scary to think if somebody is there, United Kingdom in the Scotland area, and they happen to be by the summit of Ben Macdui, then by all means, try it out, see what you can do, see what you can come up with as you go around that area. But again, even with everything that was just explained as far as the broken spectra and the optical illusion, how can one still explain the feeling that somebody's being watched? That's the difference, though. And everybody that goes up there tends to have that feeling, and it's one that creates terror, extreme terror. The idea that something is very close by but still far away to not be seen, but you still can feel its presence. And that's what makes this a very nice distinction in my new series here. Anyways, everybody, thanks as always for watching my videos. Take care.